Duchess, Glass Eyes Never Blink, by M.R. Ray. Chapter 7. 3 weeks slipped by. Each day, Willy marked the time with the steady ticking of the clock, the mechanical rhythm that synchronized with his unease. He moved through life as though trapped in a loop, aware of the eternal eyes of the stuffed cat. Its presence loomed over him like a waking nightmare, its symbolic menace shifting from mere possession to something more profound. At first, Willy felt paranoia take root, convinced the cat's smirk held Wanda's secrets. But as days turned to weeks, the cat's symbolism evolved into a shadowed emblem of his own crumbling marriage and internal guilt. Each glance at its frozen grin was a silent accusation, a reminder of everything unspoken and unresolved. The day Buster died, Willy knew the cat had done it. Not directly, there were no wounds, no marks, but the certainty was there, a feeling deep in his gut. It seemed the cat now mocked him openly, as if aligned with the universe to conspire against him. Every shadow felt heavier, a whisper laced with betrayal. In its cold eyes shimmered the reflection of Willy's deepest fears. He saw it in the way the cat looked at him, always smiling, always smug, laughing. Wanda called him crazy for blaming a toy, so he stopped talking about that too. He stopped talking about most things. Work was the same. He filed reports and processed invoices, except now he ate lunch at his desk. At the end of each shift, he washed his mug in the break room sink and left it to dry upside down the way he liked it. He avoided most of his co-workers. Nobody said much to him, and he said little back. He preferred it that way. One night, as he parked in the driveway, the engine idled while he looked at his phone. Wanda had sent a text an hour ago. "Eating out with some friends. Don't wait up." In reading it twice, he looked for a hidden message. He found none. After killing the engine, he locked his car and went up the path. The porch light hadn't been switched on. The house looked gray and flat against the street. He knew where Wanda was. Inside, the air was stale. He switched on the light and set his briefcase by the door. One quick glance at the mantel. There the cat sat, same as always. Or was it in a different position? He could never quite remember, just like the rings. He couldn't remember how many there were supposed to be. 5, he thought. Maybe 6. No, there were more than that now. Those eyes. Something was alive behind them. He took his phone out and snapped a picture of the cat, a habit he had taken up. Maybe he could get proof it moved. Willy dragged himself into the kitchen. He opened the refrigerator and scanned for leftovers. He found one of Buster's tennis balls sitting on a leftover pizza box. How'd that get there? His first thought was, maybe Wanda was playing a cruel joke on him. That, or perhaps it was a subtle reminder to get rid of Buster's things. But he would worry about that this weekend. Maybe. He grabbed the ball, 2 beers and the pizza box, then reached for a plate. He set the plate on the counter and turned to the table. That's when he saw it. The chair. It was pulled out, not much, a few inches, but enough to block his path. As he stared at it, he replayed his earlier steps. He was certain all the chairs had been pushed in when he came into the kitchen. The chair scraped against the linoleum as he slid it back. He microwaved 2 slices of pizza, leaving the box on the counter. He wandered into the living room. The cat lay on the mantel in a loaf, paws tucked tight beneath its chest. Its ears stood alert, eyes fixed straight ahead. Willy stared at it, daring it to move. It didn't. He grabbed his phone, snapped another picture of the cat's position, then tucked the phone in his pocket. He sat in his recliner, switched on the TV to watch the news, and ate his dinner. When he finished, he walked down the hall to the guest bathroom, which now served as his bathroom. As he opened the door, he heard something shift behind him. He spun. Nothing. The entryway was empty, the kitchen unchanged. He closed the bathroom door, then rechecked the living room. Nothing. He went back to the bathroom. Soon he returned and sat in the recliner. The cat hadn't moved. With the remote in hand, he clicked through the channels. Nothing held his attention. He muted the TV and listened to the quiet house. Restless, he stood up and wandered the hall. That's when he noticed the photo, the one on the wall outside the bedroom. It had been turned to face the wall. It was of the three of them, Willy, Wanda, and Buster, posing in front of the Christmas tree, arms linked, faces bright, happier times. They were still dating then. Thinking hard, he dusted the frame 2 days ago. It had been fine. He reached out, flipped it back around, and stared at the glass. His own face looked back, pale and watery, frozen in time. He pressed the frame against the wall, making sure it sat flush. He checked the hook. It was firm. It was getting late. He went to the freezer for ice cream. Sitting on top of the carton was a bottle of Wanda's perfume, her favorite, the one she rationed, too expensive for everyday use. He stared at it, then pulled it out and set it on the counter. How'd it get there? No reason for it to be there. Another message from Wanda. He rechecked his phone, thumb swiping back and forth between the photos of the cat. To prove it to Wanda, he knew he would have to catch the cat in the act. Or maybe he wanted to prove to himself that he wasn't imagining it. He ate at the table, the bowl balanced on a stack of unopened mail. He stared at the images on his phone until his mind wandered. The tall man was standing at the foot of a bed, Wanda pressed against him, their mouths locked together. The man's hands slid down her back, pulling her closer. She pushed him gently onto the edge of the mattress, then sank to her knees before him. Her fingers found his belt buckle, metal clinking as she worked it loose. Then she stopped. Slowly, her head turned. She looked straight at Willy. No smile, no warmth, just a steady, knowing stare.
This is what you wanted to see, isn't it?
The belt came undone with a soft snap, her mouth and hands moving again. The front door rattled. He jolted, nearly dropping the phone. He flipped the screen dark and shoved it under a magazine, just as the keys jingled in the lock. Wanda slipped inside, heels dangling from her fingers, denim jacket slung over her arm. The black dress clung to her hips, hem riding higher than it should have. She passed him without a glance. She walked straight to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of juice from the fridge, and leaned against the counter. She sipped the juice, then stared at the bottle on the counter.
Why is my perfume on the counter?
He shrugged.
I found it in the freezer. Thought maybe you put it there by accident.
She shook her head, eyes on the bottle.
You're the only one home, Willy,
she said in an accusing manner. He wanted to tell her about the chair, the photo, the feeling that something was wrong. He wanted to tell her about the cat, how he'd watched it every night, waiting for it to move. But he already knew how she'd react. The time wasn't right. Instead, he said,
I guess. It's just a bit weird.
With her bottle of perfume in hand, she went to the bedroom. The door shut with a quiet finality. Willy stayed in the kitchen, staring after her, the words stuck in his throat. He wanted to follow, to slide in behind her, to touch her face and remind himself she was his. But she hadn't even looked at him. Lately, she never did. When the shower started, he moved to the bedroom door and pressed his ear against it. Water rushed steady through the pipes. He pictured her inside, steam, bare shoulders, hair slicked back. The scene unspooled like one of the videos. He'd undress, slip into the shower, she'd be his. Desire sparked, then twisted sour. 9 weeks since the last time. If she was 6 weeks along, his gut knotted.
Not for you. Him. She touches herself for him.
He waited, his hand hovering over the knob, wanting her, wanting to confront her, to be with her, to make her see what was happening. But the words stayed locked inside. The door opened before he could knock. Wanda stepped out in a bathrobe, a towel wrapped around her hair. She looked at him, rolled her eyes, and then looked away. He said it before he lost his nerve.
I think the cat is moving.
She stopped.
What did you say?
He gestured down the hall toward the mantel.
The stuffed cat, I think it's doing things.
This again? You're not serious, are you?
Wanda laughed.
Every night something's off. Chairs, pictures, your perfume. Last week my car keys ended up in the oven. I'm not making it up.
He nodded.
For God's sake, Willy, it's a toy. This obsession is getting out of hand.
He felt his face burn.
Wanda, I know what I saw.
She took a step toward him, voice sharp.
You're blaming a stuffed animal for your own forgetfulness? You think it's alive? That's insane. Maybe you should see someone.
He backed away, hands raised.
I'm just saying.
No, you're not just saying.
She snapped sarcastically.
You're making excuses for every mistake, every weird thing, and blaming it on the cat. Grow up.
She brushed past him, heading for the living room.
I'm done talking about this.
She called over her shoulder. He followed, keeping a distance. She flopped onto the couch and turned on the TV, scrolling through the channels with angry, rapid clicks. Willy stared at the mantel. The cat stared back, eyes bright in the lamplight. It winked at him, mouth curled in a perfect, knowing smile. He wanted to fight, to argue, to prove he wasn't losing it. Instead, he sat in his chair, phone in hand, and watched the cat. He took another picture. He set the phone on the armrest, camera pointed at the mantel, recording in case the cat moved. Several hours had passed, and Willy woke to the chime of the clock, a distant, hollow sound that carried through the whole house. The TV was off. Beside him, the lamp cast a small circle of light, barely enough to reach the mantel. The cat sat there as before, tail curled tight, gold rings catching the light. He checked his watch 10 minutes before midnight. Willy tried the TV again, but the screen only amplified the silence. He switched it off and slumped in the recliner, feet up, hands folded on his gut. The cat on the mantel was his focus. He told himself he would stay awake this time, but his eyelids sagged, heavy as lead. He let them close for a second, and the second drifted. Through dream-laced eyes, he saw Wanda standing by the mantel, looking back at him, hair loose and wild. She wore pajamas, the red and white stripes bright even in the false light. She cradled the cat in her arms, rocking it. The gold rings on its collar shifted with each sway. Wanda spoke, her voice low, words drawn out like a lullaby.
I'm sorry he's been so cruel to you. He doesn't understand you. What we could be.
Willy tried to speak, but his mouth didn't work. He wanted to call her name, but his tongue was a stone. Wanda stroked the cat's head.
He's nothing,
She said.
Not like us.
Willy managed a choking sound. She turned, and for a heartbeat her eyes caught the light, slitted gold at the core, rimmed in green, like a cat watching prey. Willy jerked in the chair, heart rattling in his chest. The room snapped into focus. The TV was off and the lamp hummed. There was the cat on the mantel, alone now, but angled toward him, head tilted a degree more than before. Its eyes glowed in the lamplight, black and bottomless. His breath came fast, hands slick with sweat. He looked at the cat, then at the phone on the armrest. After he picked up the phone, his thumb shook as he pulled up the camera. The cat's face became the focus as he took many pictures. He checked the gallery, looking for proof. The photos were all the same, identical, but each one made him feel sicker, dumber. He lowered the phone. The cat stared him down, unmoved. Willy couldn't look away. He watched the cat until his eyes ached, until the room grew blurry at the edges, and the only thing left was the cold, perfect face watching him back. He could almost feel that the thing on the mantel was alive. In a moment of clarity, doubt crept in like a whisper. Had his paranoia escalated to the point of seeing movement where there was none? Was it the cat's presence that seemed to hum with constant malice, or was he crafting shadows in his mind? Though one thing kept gnawing at him, a persistent thought he couldn't quite dismiss. The cat. It seemed to hold an inexplicable hostility towards him.